Awesome. Well, with that in mind, an eye on the time, we're at the 5-minute mark, so we'll go ahead and get started. What's up, everybody? We're here for our fifth, I think, dev stream. Uh, so for some intros and reminders about who we are, because you kind of get a different group of people every time. I'm Stephanie. I'm the producer here at Treehouse. So I handle like our roadmap, our playtests, our what we're working on, when we're working on it, helping the team deliver awesome stuff to you guys. And then Mitch, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Yes, I'm Mitch, art director, creative director. I'm doing a lot of different things, but this is I guess my second one. But yeah, mostly overseeing a lot of our art and concept art and creative direction stuff in terms of like how we differentiate our product and things like that. So we're all wearing many different hats. Hello again.
Awesome. And today we'll be talking about a couple topics. So we'll talk a little bit actually about the last playtest, and we just have some cool stuff that we want to share from y'all from a playtest we just finished over the weekend. And we'll talk also a little bit just about the playtest process and stuff. And then we'll be sharing a little bit more info on a topic we have, I think, talked about very briefly before, but didn't go very into at the time, and we've made a lot of progress on, which is our spirits and spirit companions, which are like our magical buddies in our world and magical forces that we help protect. So we'll be sharing a lot of stuff about that for you guys today. And then we'll reserve some time at the end for y'all to ask us questions. So hopefully that sounds exciting. And I will switch my monitor over to the playtest stuff, and we'll share that real quick. But just over the Labor Day weekend, or Labor Day? Is that what day it was?
Hmm.
Holiday weekend? I like don't know what holiday it is. Over the holiday weekend, we had a playtest. A lot of I think people that are in the audience showed up, but there's some fresh faces here too. Showed up to play all weekend, which was really awesome. And I'll share a little bit about what we were kind of testing, what changes had gone in, and what awesome things we saw people make while they were in the build. So let me. Hopefully, I'm sharing the right screen, and hopefully, you can see this. Let me know in the chat if y'all can see it. Okay, I was like, someone, please. Awesome. So this is just kind of like a screenshot of the patch notes, but over the last couple of playtests actually that we've been doing, we've been testing what we hope will make Voyagers of Nera different from other survival crafting games on the market, make you want to play our game over other games, and hopefully make us kind of like a unique and like fun experience for you guys versus some other kind of games that are on the market. Our big kind of push into that is this like magical world and oceanfaring world that we've like set up, and we're trying to bring that magic more directly to players through spirit companions, how they impact like the way you build, the things that you earn, how they impact like the world and how you traverse and navigate it. So we made a lot of updates in our last playtest to spirits themselves. Um, so I think some people that had playtested before saw our very like first placeholder versions of spirits, which actually was this little guy in the left-hand side of the screen was just kind of statically placed in the world. You couldn't do anything. That evolved eventually to this little like wisp or like orb of light that like followed you around, but also still didn't do anything. And we had a big update in the last playtest where you have one of four kind of like spirit companions with you all the time that are magical creatures. There's like one that's kind of like a salamander, one that's kind of like a turtle, a manta ray, this really awesome looking bird. So you had this kind of like little buddy flying around you in the world, helping you on your adventures. And they also were like dormant spirits or magic to be found in the world that you could rescue and bring back to your base. And once you awaken them, you got this like little helper in your base to like help you either make certain recipes, craft things more efficiently, generate resources for you, and all kinds of stuff. So that's a lot of what we had in the last playtest, along with a lot of updates to how you complete the biome, including like I think I think this is when we did the big update to the boss fight. So he had like visuals and sound effects, and like he was in an updated arena that hopefully was like really epic feeling. Um, and we also did a lot of changes to like how you actually get into game too. So that was like a lot of what was in the last playtest. Um, and we got a lot of really great feedback. So we had a lot of play hours and a lot of awesome feedback about a lot of the different areas of the game. And so something you'll hopefully see kind of even next time is like we're gonna add some like more polish to our intro experience and how people actually get like onboarded into the game, including like quests is actually something we had been working on. that a lot of players have been requesting for a long time. So we're actually going to have a version of quests in. We're going to have a whole updated like intro area that will hopefully guide and onboard you a little bit better into the game. We're actually going to have like more polish on like the spirits and like how they're visualized, and actually have all of like the functions in there, because I think we had some of them were functional and some of them were not. So we're trying to like incorporate a lot of the feedback that people gave about that system directly into it for the next one. We're gonna have a ton more audio and even some music, I think, in the next build, which will be really exciting. So hopefully there's a lot of really fun playtest changes coming soon for people that are already in the playtest group. And then because we get this question a lot, I wanted to include it here. We are still expanding our playtest group. So if you haven't signed up yet, you can sign up in the playtest sign up channel that's kind of above, somewhere up in the top of the Discord. We expand this pool every 2 weeks or so with about like 30 new people. So we're always kind of pulling from this list. We're pulling a mix of like people that had signed up a while ago and some new people. So hopefully that will, it won't matter as much when you signed up, but you'll get pulled in kind of as we can allow people in. So definitely, if you haven't signed up already, sign up. If you sign up and you're like, where's my invite? Hopefully you'll get one in the next few playtests, because we are expanding it every single time. And we are trying to consistently playtest every 2 weeks. So our next playtest actually will be a little bit sooner, I hope. So we're actually hoping to do a new playtest starting on next Wednesday. So look forward to that. And if you haven't signed up, definitely sign up for that one so you can get in. And then speaking of playtesters, like I mentioned, there were a lot of really awesome like community creations in the last playtest that people were kind enough to upload to the Discord for us to see, and I wanted to share that with all of you because there's a lot of really awesome buildings and like a lot of creativity. And so I kind of you'll see this as we go through the slides. I kind of broke it into 3 categories. One is like awesome bases and really cool bases that people uploaded. Another one was like out of the box creations, and another one was like awesome vistas. And so we have a few different categories of really awesome content that people shared with us that now you'll get to see. Awesome vistas was first. I listed them out of order. But yeah, so some really awesome shots that people found in the game world when they were exploring the playtest build and trying to figure out where they could get to and what they could see. So this one's a really awesome screenshot from Germ Vader, who's one of the members of the Discord and one of our playtesters. Of I think actually a screenshot kind of from near the entrance of the world, actually. So you can see this ancient construct here collapsed in the ocean. And Mitch will probably share a little bit of like lore about who those guys are in the next part of the stream. You can see actually way far in the distance too. It's currently disabled in our playtest build, so you can't get to it. But that's actually our second biome. So this first one that you're spawning in is like our first biome called the Embrace, where you are in the loving embrace of this ancient fellow, I think. That's why I like to call it that. But in the distance, you can see the Greatwood, which is going to be the next biome that you'll likely see in the playtest soon. And you can actually see their little salamander fire buddy helping them. And as you can actually see in the screenshot too, maybe it's a good thing to note it for later. But so when you have a spirit equipped, it gives you a little buff, which you can kind of see in that bottom left of the screenshot. But I thought this was a really awesome vista. Some more awesome screenshots from Nexus Cupcake were some of our intro area, actually, but they really liked the way that this area looked and felt, and I thought that these screenshots were like really awesome. So actually, when you exit this like tower in the intro, and you'll see this later in the stream because I think we'll show a little bit of gameplay from it, you kind of like dive down into this cenote, which if you had to look that word up, don't worry, I did too. Into this like large, like kind of like water cave kind of thing. That's kind of like surrounded by like the rock face, but there's like this kind of like beautiful light shining into it, and there's this like lush greenery to like guide you to where you're supposed to go. So I thought that these were really awesome screenshots. Also chose the salamander as a strong pick. We have some awesome bases. This one's also Nexus Cupcake and their server group. So I don't think Nexus did all of this, but they built this really awesome kind of like waterfront connected village, which I thought was really cool. These are kind of personally my favorite kinds of builds to see, just like the kind of like way it feels like it's all like one little village and you all live together. So I thought this was like a really awesome one to share. Yeah, it literally looks like a Hawaiian like vacation, like a resort. So it's really, really awesome to see how much of this they built up over the weekend. And these are some more shots of the same build, but from some different angles. So this one's like on the island, and as you can see, as you saw, like the part of that golem in the distance, this is one of his arms. And I think this is the last, maybe the last shots of this one. And it has like the cool starting lighthouse in the background of it too, that you can kind of see as like, and this is probably going to be a pretty consistent visual language in a lot of our biomes. It's kind of like a, here's like almost like the start of this area. Awesome. And then another one we have is high-rise base, which I thought was really cool. So someone decided to build inside of the palm of this hand, this like mega tower with this like really awesome base where you can actually look, you're almost even with like the lighthouse. You could like see it from like where you sit, which I could imagine if I could have a house like this in real life, that's where I would want to be. And this is the view from like inside this house. So that was also really, really cute and really cozy. It shows off a lot of, I think, we actually don't have, I think, as many decorations as we've had in the past. We're kind of like working on those, bringing some in and out as we kind of figure out what style, what types of things we want to offer, how they fit together. But this is a really, really awesome use of, I think, the kit pieces we do have. We have like the cool string lights, the basket lanterns, nice little cozy setup with this lantern on the table. This is from Divine Comedies. Thank you for uploading that. And now we have out of the box creations. Another one, Nexus Cupcake had the best screenshots. This was like a really awesome, I don't know if it was supposed to be a dragon or if it was supposed to be something else, but that's what I saw when I like looked at it. Nexus Cupcake made this like really cool dragon out of like barrels and candles and basket lanterns and torches. It was really awesome. I would have never thought to make something like this. Yeah, that's how I felt when I looked at this other Nera. There's a Nera in our chat. I was like, I'm not that creative. I can't build something like that. But so cool. And then what I would say is probably the coup de grace of the community creations is this. I called it the Nera Tanic, the unsinkable ship. This is a giant like boat that someone built out of all of like the pieces of like the buildings. It's not really a boat. It doesn't move. That would be pretty dope. But yeah, they built, like recreated this giant cruise ship out of like pieces of the deck and stairs and houses and all kinds of stuff that they put together. So I thought this was like really creative, and the scale of this building, I think there's a couple more screenshots of the interior, was just crazy to me. How you could imagine this in your head and bring it to life in the game. So this is a shot of like the outside of it at a nighttime. And they actually I don't know how to think. Thing kind of being like these like porthole glow windows is actually like one of our crafting stations that they placed around each of these to look like portholes, which is really cool. This is kind of, I think, the deck or the dock that they built up to the deck so that they could actually like get onto their ship, which also looks really cozy. And this is the inside of part of it, at least, of like the underbelly of this fake ship. Which is very elaborate. And actually, all of these things on the side are staircases that they fashioned into making this like really cool interior. So a lot of creativity. It's amazing. And yeah, this is shout out to Chew Pickle Chew, who is I think one of our most creative builders, playtest over playtest. So I can't wait to see what she builds next. And we actually do have a video of this that she shared with us, but we won't show it on the stream today. But hopefully, we'll share that out in a future poster in one of the channels soon. It's a little too long for the stream. And this is the final shot. This is from that deck that goes onto the ship. Just like a cozy little shot for you guys to set sail from. And that's all I got from that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see what everybody does in the playtest. We're always, honestly, I think, surprised and amazed at how far people can like stretch the content that we've put in. Like the really awesome creativity that everyone puts on display and all of the great ideas and feedback that we get. So if you're interested in playtesting, giving us feedback and seeing this kind of content early, definitely sign up for the playtest group because we would love to get you in and hear your feedback. But with that, I will actually hand it over to Mitch to probably get to the most fun part of the stream, which is where we get to talk about all of like the cool stuff that's not even yet in the game and showcase that for y'all. So Mitch, do you want to take it over?
Yes. can talk a little bit about spirits here. Let me share my screen again. This is going back to the old Miro board. For anyone that's caught, I guess, my last one, this is that giant board we showed last time. But yeah, I was going to kind of talk a little bit more about spirits. And Steph mentioned that we are kind of working on this whole new intro. This is like a, oh my gosh, you can see all my tabs. It's whatever. I have so many tabs with all of our tasks. We're working on this whole new intro sequence. We haven't done a whole lot of sort of, it's kind of come in pretty hot. You know, we're working pretty fast these days. But I did sort of this newer concept to kind of like play around with, like, what is the starting shot in the game? Like, how are people spawning in? And a lot of what we are trying to push for is this, again, if anyone caught the other stream that I had, this kind of ancient world, very magical, primordial in that sense. You're kind of like starting off in this giant, this is kind of at the base of that lighthouse that Steph showed in some of the screenshots. But you're kind of, you know, spawning at the pool of these like waters of life within the ancients and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of that's going to be like, this is the room that all the players will spawn. And Steph was also mentioning a lot of the spirit companions. So like segueing into that, you'll kind of start with this little spirit companion, and that's very much something we're still feeling out and figuring out exactly like what we want that to do. But this is essentially going to be a little companion that will help you. It's intended to eventually, you probably won't experience it yet, but in the future, this will be a companion that helps you find things, is going to help you interact with things in this very magical way, and it will also, you know, change shape as you build your character and stuff. So it'll kind of be this living embodiment of your build. And these are some concepts of all the different kind of companions you'll see. I'm sure there'll be questions about cosmetics and stuff that we should talk about. But like, we are definitely planning on doing a lot of like different, you know, like cosmetic types for the elements and things like that. But in general, though, in terms of spirits, I wanted to kind of like run through kind of like what they're intended to do. You know, you've got this little spirit companion, and like, what are spirits in the world? They're kind of these, as kind of one of our, I mentioned, like differentiators. A lot of what we want to do with them is make sure that they're kind of helping us on our journey. These are supposed to be powerful characters that are going to be attuned to different elements, and you can kind of, there's a lot of potential there. We're still figuring out exactly like what all they're going to do, but you know, by using these different elemental spirits, you can kind of get access to, you know, fire, water, earth, wind, hopefully more in the future. But we're kind of doing this pass right now that's more around different like elementally typed like helpers that kind of coincide with some of the spirit companions, but are still like different in their function. These are all going to have a sort of specialization or a role. So you can imagine, see these little like icons next to them. This is not fully in yet, but we're kind of currently working on it. These are going to be characters you can like slot into refiners and like workbenches and things like that, as well as these are some new concepts for like resource generators. They're going to be able to help you kind of magically progress in the game through spawning, you know, maybe basic materials like rocks and wood and things like that, all the way up to some of the elemental strands for whoever's playtested the game. They're kind of these sort of embodiments of elements, these powerful things that are used in a lot of different objects. So when I talk about kind of the like what they're doing, it's really around helping us progress. I kind of have this little web here of producing raw resources, strands, and those will kind of web out into some of the newest things we're going to be adding are they're going to be able to help you craft new like ingots and weapons, and like we've got, I'm sure in different ways people have heard of the Skimmer. That's very much a work in progress, but it's kind of this magical surfboard. that you're kind of going to be able to unlock through getting a spirit. So things like you can imagine slotting a little artisan water spirit here into your workbench, and now you suddenly have this recipe to make a magical skimmer that's going to let you surf across the seas. So a lot of what we're trying to figure out right now is how are these helping us progress in the game? How are they either helping us or embellishing or just adding fun mechanics that you can really that are unique and you have a good time with, all the way down to augments, which are kind of our version of armor. Um, we don't have a like sort of typical armor system, and so we're doing this augment system that's kind of this armor system light that will kind of give you these different attributes, different uh, powers in a sense that will kind of let you spec into protection for if you're like an earth spirit person, or offense if you're fire, and those are what's ultimately going to dictate your spirit companion. Um, and I think a lot of that is kind of this through line of like I said, there's still a lot to figure out, but really wanting a lot of this through line for the whole game to be around like our whole purpose is to go out and find spirits. So we want to find all these different ways of letting them interact with crafting and like not necessarily be like hard progression gates, but be these things where you're like, wow, that thing I unlocked from a spirit was freaking awesome. I want more of that. And hopefully that's enticing enough to get people to be like, I can't wait to find the next one, or I wonder what it'll unlock for me next, or even in a future biome or something. So, um, on top of that, we've got like I mentioned like the augments, a lot of the separate role of like outside of them empowering us, it's kind of this relationship with them where they're quite literally helping us craft new things, they're empowering us, we're helping them. I think I mentioned in the last stream like a lot of this like symbiotic relationship. So a lot of that's around trying to find ways where they're giving us really exciting things and we're kind of giving them this haven for ultimately having this the ideal, most exciting version in my head, at least, is like you've got this awesome, thriving spirit haven where you've given them a home and you're seeing them on your refiners and workbenches and they're helping you craft stuff and generate resources. But you're also going out and finding more of them and then like rescuing them from baddies and fighting bosses to get access to like these powerful elder spirits, which are like more powerful versions of them. So all the way down to I, I can't remember if I mentioned the last stream or not, but I guess the thing I'm the most excited about is I mentioned the skimmer. We're going to be messing around with having like literally being able to like surf on the back of a elder spirit in a sense. So finding ways to get them to like literally help us explore the world and empower us is a lot of their intent, and that's still very we're still figuring out a lot of that stuff, but that's a lot of the intent and the hopefully like excitement around a lot of what spirits are going to be doing for us. And I even have a little UI mock-up here. We've been doing a lot of like UI iterations here and there about like how do you get these, where do you slot them, how are they showing you what they're going to give you. So there's a lot of like little things here where they'll like you can imagine this little like fire spirit you get slotted in here and he teaches you how to make a whole new ingot or a new sword or the skimmer or uh, I guess whatever we can think of that's hopefully exciting to the community. So yeah, that's kind of I guess my spiel with spirits. I don't know if we wanted to go into any Q&A or if there's any other things that you can think of, Steph.
Yeah, I don't know if we wanted to. We mentioned that we would show some of like the
Oh
game too,
yes,
so we can kind of
yes,
show some
yes,
of this
yes.
in game. So let me prep my
I can
window.
talk over some of our in-game stuff. Yeah.
So I'm gonna apologize in advance. I'm gonna try to run it at like a better graphics quality, but just with like OBS and Discord and all these things, it might be a little rough. So just let me know if it's too low FPS and we can figure that out. Let me get set up.
Gaming time. Yes, we're getting to the
Always
point
gaming
where we
time.
can actually show some of this in game rather than like just show concept art, which is
Yeah. Oh,
exciting.
I think, can you cancel your screen share? I think it won't
Oh,
let me until
yes.
you.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. Let's see. I am on still on low. But I think, can you guys see this window? Probably, oh, it might be
I
freezing a
can.
little bit.
Oh,
Thinking. Oh,
oh, there we go. Nice. Oh,
awesome.
look at that. Oh, we got our new intro room as well.
Yes, if you're remembering like the concept that Mitch just talked over of like the kind
Yes.
of starting area, this is our next pass at that.
Yeah, Mina, I don't know if you saw the last dev stream, Mina and Kyle talked, but she just did a pass on this to get a little closer to the concept. We're going to be doing some lighting passes and a little bit of touch up here and there, but this is already hitting a really cool vibe. Yes, it is bigger. I think a lot of what we're trying to do here is like, kind of, I felt like we all kind of talked about it. The lighthouse was originally very kind of tight, a little bit claustrophobic, very toomy in that sense. We wanted to open it up and make it a little bit more grandiose, all the way up to this like lead up and the tricky top step that
I know, it's
stops
always the
everyone.
top step.
Yeah, and you got these little lore stones that we're going to be updating as well, but those are going to kind of give you a little bit of context into who you are, what you're supposed to be doing. I believe they're also going to give you a little XP boost as well, which is always nice. The real boss. The last step, yes. Kind of leads you out to this vista. God, you're in like a weird time of day, is this?
Oh, yeah, it's like night has just begun.
Oh gosh,
Also, wait, I might need to set my hunger.
look at him.
This little
You'll
cutie.
start by starving to death. This is intended.
Yeah. Exactly how we want it to work. Actually, you can also see one of our starter quests on the side that was not in the last
Oh yeah.
build that people had, but those are in, and hopefully will help with some of that onboarding or like the gap between like getting
Hmm.
into the game and being like out of the starting tower and being like, what do I do?
Right. Yeah, a lot of
But
that's going to
hopefully,
be kind of that onboarding. Hopefully, be a
woo,
little simple. It starts off pretty simple and then kind of ramps up into you eventually having to defeat the boss of the area. Um, yeah, here's this little lead up. And yeah, all this is brand new, so we're still going to be doing some passes on it. But we've got some little like lore tidbits that you can kind of opt into if you find them. Lore, yes. And this whole
we
kind of
love lore.
intro sequence, yeah. And infinite mushrooms, infinite giant mushrooms. Everyone loves those.
I love that it's literally like as big as my whole character. Okay, I'm gonna say this combat and my FPS is gonna be rough. We'll go with God.
Oh, it's smooth right
Oh yeah, I
here.
want to talk over this guy.
Yeah, this is very much a block out. We're just finishing the textures on this guy, but this is one of the ancient constructs that's ultimately a boss fight later. Not this guy, but this is kind of going to be your first experience in like hopefully seeing ancient constructs. It's going to try and this whole at least scene is going to be attempting to
Oh no, they noticed me.
God, you can fight them while I talk. The that these ancient constructs are kind of protecting the dormant spirits, and this one in particular died. And I think a lot of what we're going to be trying to set up here is that kind of relationship between them protecting these, and it's got this little block out right now on its right side, this like egg-shaped thing. That's ultimately going to be like a elder spirit that's been like shattered and has been killed, and so a lot of that's going to try and convey that they are protecting them and that you're going to encounter them, and that's kind of this loop of us proving ourselves to be able to get the spirits and then bring them home, where these guys have kind of been protecting them for thousands and thousands of years. We got little, I guess Mina added some little luma plants here.
The gray box.
The gray box. Yes. Won't always be there. I'll give you a little topper after the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this little intro sequence kind of, tutorializes some of the combat stuff, some lore things. You're kind of running through, and it's kind of going to reveal up here towards that sort of, yeah, again, the reveal spot that everyone, or most people have seen probably here, of the embrace.
I love this shot. It's so cool. I wish I could play in higher graphics.
Ah,
It
yeah,
looks so
yeah.
cool.
Wish it was daytime.
Oh,
Want it
that's
to be
true. Yeah, it would
daytime.
also be nice. I mean, nighttime has its own vibe, you know?
It does, sure. I feel like a lot of the ancient stuff doesn't react to light though in a weird way, so
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I'm
probably
just
it's a little whip.
nitpicking. It's a little whip, yes.
Just,
Got
just
some new
art
berry
director.
bushes here. Got a lot of people starving to death, so we're adding more food.
Oh, I'm encumbered.
That is one tall roof.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. So I think we're gonna run over here and run through some of the little work in progress spirit stuff.
Yeah, actually, do we want to we can show a little bit too. Some of the how do you say it? The awakening of one too.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't put a dormant one in my inventory, but we should.
sure. Yeah. So a lot of what you're going to do, like I was mentioning, is you're going to be, sailing off, swimming, skimming, all the above to different areas around the embrace, to other biomes. You're going to find these little dormant spirits, and you're going to come back to your spirit anchor, who's awakened. He wakes and kind of looks at you. And you'll be able to put these little dormant spirits and slot them in, and he'll be able to awaken them if you have the proper resources.
If you have
You
the
need some
rupees.
flame strands there, I believe. Or fire strand. There it is.
Let's see, did they make it into my inventory?
Yes,
Yes.
you got it. You got it. And then you'll be able to awaken him with some currency there, and he'll start cooking. And we are eventually going to be sort of visually showing this. There'll be like a little, dormant spirit, like they're kind of egg-like. They'll be sitting in the water, kind of incubating there while the timer's ticking. But the whole point of this guy is he's kind of this. He's eventually getting more functionality in terms of like powering a lot of your magical stations and stuff. But for now, he's very much the center point that you come back, and he's helping you awaken these sort of long sleeping spirits now. So you can slot them into benches, and like they can kind of help you progress in the game. Um,
Yes, I
we
tried to
got
build
these.
all of the
Oh
benches that
yes,
we would slot
nice.
them.
We've got some very work in progress placeholder. Some new resource generators as well.
Let's
Oh,
see.
we
So
need to
it's
add
this guy, right?
icons to these. Yes, it's the artisan, I believe, that goes into the workbench. There will be more icons that reinforce this, but each spirit will kind of like be able to be slotted specifically into different benches for different like purposes. And this guy in particular is gonna teach you how to craft an earthen ingot, and he can craft you this earthen shield. Um, so that's kind of like trying to get the point across of like there's a lot of different ways they're going to be affecting us, helping us craft weapons, shields, different augments, all towards helping us survive and take on the boss of the area or just survive in general. Some of them will be for cooking, teaching you better recipes. Um, what is this one? Oh, this is the kiln. I think you need a
Oh yeah.
refiner. Yeah,
So
the little
which one?
gear. Yeah. Once we get
Like,
hopefully the coded little background icons will help a ton. But this guy helps you refine faster, smelt ingots quicker. Um,
so you can see right
oh
now they're
yes,
really placeholder too, but eventually they'll show up on the station
yeah,
and like visually be
yes.
helping you too.
They'll kind of just be sitting there idling if nothing's happening, and if you start smelting stuff, they're going to kind of tinker and help you with it. But those will pretty much be on most of these benches, I believe. You'll have a little spirit helper helping you. Um,
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone noticed, but so yeah, and this one I Mitch said, it kind of gives you this like
mhm.
recipe. So I like crafted a recipe, took it in my inventory, learned it, and now on this station I
Very cool.
have these
Mhm.
recipes unlocked for me.
Yeah, and those are going to help you craft sort of their special items that they give you, like this flaming sword or the earthen shield. Um, and this is a block out for a harvester. These are going to be you're going to get different harvester spirits of different like elements, and basically as long as you keep them fueled, they're gonna output strands. That'll probably take too long. I think they're tuned to like 10 minutes right now or something.
Yeah.
But they'll produce strands for you, which help you craft weapons and armor and things like that. So, or augments.
Hmm.
Harvester. Well,
This one's the physical one.
this is the physical one. So separate from the imbued one, this harvester is like a more of a physical. This, if you slot a spirit in these, they'll generate like rocks and wood and sort of more physical materials for you to help you build and craft stuff as well. So there's kind of two different functions there. Then the augment bench here. This is
I'm trying to click
again,
it.
our armor.
There we go.
Yeah, these are all, I think all these icons have been updated from the last time. We've maybe even shown this, but
Mm-hmm.
each of these is kind of attuned to an element. So augment rage is a fire augment, and so that's going to increase your damage output. It'll also change your spirit companion. If you have a majority of these equipped, it's going to make it that little fire gecko spirit. So a lot of the spirits are essentially just going to be these visual reinforcements of how you want to play, is at least the intent.
Yes, we can actually show that too.
Yeah.
I'll cheat myself some augments.
For it.
But you can see I've got this little neutral boy
Yeah.
in my inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Boo-boo.
And now that you're, but yeah.
Is verb.
Now you're
I love this one. He looks
attuned to
so
wind.
cool.
He turns into a
Turned.
little bird.
I
The
love
wind
him. He's so
spirit.
cute.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's about to be daytime.
Hell yeah.
Oop,
Get that
oop.
sunrise. But yeah, like
Find
I
it.
guess the intent with that is going to be, over time, definitely want to embellish on that. Probably add some other. We've talked about
Oop.
cosmetic variants. Like maybe if you really love being attuned to fire, you could change the visual of your fire, spirit or something over time. So it's a lot of options there eventually, but right now they're kind of each a specific animal right now that represents them. Um,
Oh, maybe I can fix that for you. Because there's also a turtle.
there is a
It
turtle.
says
It's like a land turtle, but very much intend to do a sea turtle as well for the water spirit.
look at him.
Yeah,
He's so
there he is.
cute.
He's just kind of floating there. He's not as graceful as the other ones, but he
But he's
protects you.
strong, you know?
Yeah, he's tough. The other
Yeah, maybe
part
we
we're,
should
we're
also
going to
do
be
the.
working on too is with these affinities, we're going to add some, eventually some sort of visual effects to reinforce what they're doing. So this affinity of earth, for example, it's supposed to be protective. So you're going to have this little shield around you, and we're going to reinforce that with like, you can imagine some like swirling rocks around your character. And then once you get hit, those will kind of disappear until it regenerates. But um, we're going to be playing a bit with how they actually help us more. So, and yeah, this is the Elder
Yeah.
Spirit Shrine.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how you get the elder spirits? I don't remember if we mentioned it.
Yeah, this is from if you saw or if you remember the little or the big dead construct in the cave before here. um, those guys are these sort of protectors of the spirits, and we're kind of going to each of them per biome and proving that you know, we can take them on, that we can that we're worthy of safeguarding the spirits by through like trials of combat. So they're kind of testing our skills, and if you haven't progressed enough or just can't beat them, then you're not worthy. And so once you defeat them, you get access to these dormant elder spirits, and you awaken them the same way as the smaller ones at the spirit anchor. But once you do awaken them, you're going to make these sort of dedicated shrines. If you want to throw him in there, these will be these kind of more pivotal moments, these kind of bigger spirits. This one's kind of the first one you get. He's a kind of living embodiment of the ocean. And so a lot of what we want to do here is going to help you traverse the seas. You'll be able to like surf on his back. Maybe give you like a boon that you could activate to like. I think so. There's some ideas for like a cool like slipstream on the water that might boost your skimmer, or like a group heal or something. So a lot of the things we're gonna do after you've awakened them and like slotted them in these shrines is figuring out how the elder spirits help you uh, with like empowering sort of like this skimmer. We're currently working on this. This is very work in progress, and it will be
Yeah,
animated eventually.
I'm gonna apologize in advance because I'm pretty sure it's not animated yet,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make Andrew a little sad. But
You'll
I
just
know
see
it's a
you'll
highly
see the board
requested
barrel
player
rolling
feature.
without you. Yeah. But this is a very very much like a.
Oop,
I'm very excited about this because I think it's going to give you a much
devastated.
more interesting way of traversing this world, which is like primarily ocean and islands. So rather than having you
Ooh,
sort of physically swim everywhere, you'll be able to propel yourself, across the ocean. Oh God, yeah, barrel rolling and stuff.
I liked the barrel roll. That was really cool,
So
actually.
funny. Well, some little tricks there. Oh my gosh. But yes.
Yeah, there's actually a little dormant spirit right here too, right in the starter zone.
Mm-hmm. This water volume.
It's fine. Don't worry. Oh, I was like, how close do I gotta get to this? Okay, here we go. Woo! Oh, didn't give it to me. There we
There
go.
it is.
Just had to hit it twice.
We're also
Double
gonna
tap.
we're gonna be ceremonializing that much more in the future as well. Of like a lot of the other important parts of your spirit companion is like what I really want to push for with some of the dormant spirit gatherings, that you'll kind of be able to. Going to be a little bit longer of a moment than just like you press E and you get it. Your little companion's going to fly in. It'll kind of unlock your ability to pick up the dormant spirit and then take it home. So we're going to be trying to reinforce a lot of the spirit interactions through your spirit companion. So it's more of kind of interacting with different things, helping you find things, potentially find treasure, all the above. So um, right now it's very kind of passive. So these little mana shards.
But I think that's
I think
probably
that's
about the time. Is there anything else you wanted
yeah.
to run through?
I think those are all the big things with spirits. It's right around about time for the Q&A, right? This
Yeah,
was like.
exactamundo.
Mhm.
I'm gonna switch gears and close the game so that I can actually run Discord.
Actually run, yes.
Normally it's fine, but yeah, between Discord and OBS and the webcam, my computer is just like, "What are you doing to me?"
Unstuck button.
Um, yeah, I need a unstuck button IRL. But yeah, we did add an unstuck button. Um, the most requested feature secretly. Awesome.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna double check which questions we have and what if they're the right fit for the stream. Yeah, so we have one question actually. I think both these are really good for you, Mitch, actually specifically.
Mhm.
Are there concepts have you ever discussed the possibility of adding other spirits that embody elements outside of the four currently in game, such as nature slash plants, electricity, ice, metal, etc.?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of plans for potentially adding a lot of those over time. I think that's you know uh, hopefully when we launch the game and it hopefully picks up and we have an audience that keeps growing. That's the kind of content I think that we would kind of lean on to add on. So it's like you can imagine right now we've got those four little companion spirits. There's totally room for other elements. Maybe even I think I mentioned the deep. We've got like kind of this void element as well. So I think there's so much room to play thematically with the kinds of spirit companions you get, the kind of spirits you interact with, the kind of characters you interact with. So I think that would be a lot of the expansion territory actually. So very much a yes. Yes, we definitely intend on adding more elements.
Actually, that's a really great layup for the other
Mhm.
question that I think is really good.
Yeah.
Origin of the deep. A lot of us are
Hmm.
excited about the addition of the spirits and how they connect to the world of Nera, but there's one thing I'm more curious about. What is the origin of the deep? We already know that it's the reason behind all the spirits' downfall and that it takes and corrupts those who are left, but other than that, it's just a malicious force to us. Did it come into being, or is there a sinister reason for its creation and a method of domination? And what's stopping it from corrupting us when it has already brought down the ancients?
That is a really good question. It's a big one. The I mentioned in the first dev stream that I did, we have this idea of the primordials, these embodiments of the elements. Kind of like the last question, there's a lot of different elements. We'll add where we want. There's also one that is sort of the embodiment of the void. It's kind of this dark, sinister force. It's where you could imagine the others are more of about life and creation. This one's kind of the opposite. It's kind of this cycle of life and destruction. So we have this idea of the void and some like darker elements, and that's where the deep comes from. It's kind of this realm of darkness, this realm of consumption and destruction, whereas ours is kind of the opposite. So the deep comes from there. It's kind of this embodiment of these creatures and kind of all the big bad sinister things that we're going to have sort of seeping into Nera that are trying to consume the light, consume our little spirit buds, and they're kind of the reason why we're trying to protect them, because there's a lot of sort of fun parallels of, I mentioned our references last time. I think one of the big ones I didn't wind up mentioning was Avatar Last Airbender, and that's actually where a lot of this idea came from. Was there's like one particular moment of like, I think it was like the moon spirit or something like that. I'm gonna butcher this, but it gets like killed or something like that, and like you can see how the world kind of changes. It's when you think of these like the elder spirits, that like that ocean spirit you saw, you could imagine if those got killed or consumed by the deep, the ocean, the elements would get all screwed up. So the kind of the balance of nature gets thrown off of its, or off balance. So that's kind of it's another part of what we're trying to do. We want to give them a home, we want to protect them, so that sort of stuff doesn't happen. And that's where the deep is kind of the antagonist. They run exactly counter to what we're trying to do, which makes a great antagonist. So yeah, but yeah, they're a force of consuming and destruction. But I think what's really exciting about that too is that I don't think that necessarily means that everything has to be bad from the void or the deep. We've talked a lot about maybe some other creatures that come over from that realm that maybe they're merchants, maybe they're not as into consuming and destroying spirits. Maybe they want to help us. Maybe we dip a little bit into the dark side, so to say, that like we kind of can take on some of that power to fight back. So there's a lot of room to play with there that I definitely want to explore eventually. So hopefully that answers the question. The dark side, yes. Everyone's going to want to embrace the deep, yes. It's really high risk. Yeah, were there any other ones? Oh, so sort of like having
Oh,
rifts that
I'm
the
talking.
void seeps through or something.
I was
Yes.
muted for so long.
Oh,
Not so long, just a little bit.
just reading the comments.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Uh, Sorry about that. Now that I'm unmuted, this is actually another really great layup for another question. And I think you mentioned it a little bit actually in your answer. Is like part of your inspiration for some of the magic in the world is like from Avatar: The Last Airbender, or other like kind of like animated source materials like that. But someone asked, when originally designing spirits and most of the lore surrounding them and Nera, did you take inspiration from various cultures or ocean mythologies, like Polynesian mythology about the Kapua, such as Pele and Maui, or ancient Greek tales of nymphs and naiads? So, do you have any references like that you want to share?
Hmm. Um, I think all of those can like sort of influence things here and there. I don't think we ever really like looked at things directly. We've even been, I think, we've been trying to like not go too heavily into like a specific culture, because I think that runs into its own problems, and we're trying to keep this very fantasy. So I think you take influence where you can, um, without or while being respectful, I think, to those things. So uh, there's plenty of things we've looked at with Polynesian culture. There's a lot of seafaring, like awesome imagery and visuals that is very easy and exciting to take inspiration from. It's hard to say anything specific about those. I think we just kind of will like be like, oh, that's really cool. And it'll spark an idea, and we'll kind of do it in our own way. Just like a lot of our, like you see some of the character cosmetics with tattoos, and like some of the weapons that we're going to be making in the future. A lot of those are going to be probably inspired by things, but kind of embellished on. So we're not kind of directly taking or stealing from cultures. That's a lot of it's trying to take inspiration instead of making it so direct. Because I think if there's another interesting sort of bit with that of like if we were to, I think, to for Polynesian, for example, reference that too heavily, I think it starts to put us in this really interesting territory of maybe like trying to make it too realistic in a sense. It's a fantasy world, and so taking inspiration where we can that it inspires like fun stuff that's kind of unique in our own is mostly where I like to steer it. But I guess specifically for that question, there's tons of cultures and things that we take inspiration from. So um, yeah, wander staff. Oh yeah, we've
Awesome.
got
Are there
magic planned as well.
Yeah, definitely. Highly requested internally and externally.
Yes, very much.
Awesome. Well, do we have any other questions? Anything else that y'all want to ask about either the game generally or any of the content we've gone over in this stream? Anything about spirits? Anything about, I don't know, the skimmer or the lore or anything like that? I love these gifts.
Gotcha.
Well, maybe we can on Wednesday. So we're hoping to have our next playtest ideally on Wednesday. We're actually kind of prepping the build for that right now. And we're going to have another build kind of fast following after that. We're trying to keep up the pace. So we have a lot of really fun changes coming. I mean, pretty much everything actually you saw on this stream would probably be in that build and hopefully a little bit more. So look out for that upcoming playtest date on next Wednesday.
A textured boss. That's what I've been working on. So he'll actually have textures this time around.
Yeah, we're adding some textures to the boss. There's going to be hopefully some music in the boss fight. A lot of really awesome stuff. So it'll be probably Wednesday to Sunday. So if you're around any time during that weekend, like normal, hopefully you'll be able to play.
Yeah.
More building editions. What would you want to see for building editions?
Or like just more content
I
in
mean, that's kind of how
general.
I feel every time. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we added all this content, but what if we add like 10 more? Banners or canopies? Would you want those to be like more like clan banners or just like kind of like decorative tapestries? Also, yeah, doors. I'm curious. Do you mean like closed doors? I don't remember who gave that feedback
Oh,
before, but we have gotten some commentaries like, why are all the doors open? Is there a lore reason, Mitch, why are all the doors open?
I believe that's more of a tech thing. We can definitely have doors. They're justified for sure. They just want to close doors on each other. I see. I see.
Lock them out. I feel like that is kind of always the problem with doors in games and why they're hard is because like people are trying to open and close them at the same time, or sometimes when they're like the magically opening doors that open when you get into range, they like smack your character in the face.
There is something I really do want to do that's like more like I don't know what they're called, like those like beads or like cloth doorways or something. That would be very fun. More like physics-based things. If we don't wind up doing closed doors, it still feels very like open and tropically in a sense. But I'd like to do
Has
both
a
though,
little bit of
honestly.
separation.
Yeah, you know.
Why does the door cost? Because it has a frame, Nexus.
Get refunded your wood.
See. Will you ever add your own treehouse logo into the game as an Easter egg? That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, I'm
Who
not
knows?
against it, but I don't know if it like fits quite the vibe of our company in that way. I don't think we
Who
like to like
knows?
self promote like that. Though a tree house, I think, could be really fun. buildable,
Maybe
or
that'll
like
be
a little
a great
decorative
wood thing.
treehouse.
Yeah, building a tree, yeah. It's hard to say right now. There's
Oh,
like
you mean the
this
treehouse?
there's like this big, it's not even a divide, just like a, it's hard to like figure out at this point, like how thematic do we want to go? Like how intense is that? Or how, how, I don't want to say wacky, but how many kind of like fun little things do you add? And I think there's always room for fun little things, but I like to stay a little bit more sparse on those things, especially if we focus on thematic, but there's always room. So maybe we
Yeah,
will
me
have
and
a
Mitch have
little
a good
treehouse thing.
tension, I feel like. Mitch is like holding up a thematic line, and I'm like, add a donut chair.
I know. Yeah, see,
It's
there you
so
go. We'll
funny.
get this nice middle ground then, hopefully, where it still feels thematic, but there's a lot of fun things in it.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Oh, I have one question. Can we get a painting of a bulldog, Mitch?
I
Actually, I feel like you probably have one somewhere. Maybe you
have a
could share it out if
concept.
you could
I
find
do
one.
have a concept somewhere. Yeah. You mean like a painting, like in general or in game you can place or something like
Oh, that
this?
would be cute.
We did have those paint. I don't know. I don't think they're in the game anymore, but all those paintings.
I think if you made it back,
Mm.
either works. We have one question too.
Yeah.
Or two more questions, and then probably we'll have to wrap it up soon. So we have a
Yeah.
fire sword and an earth shield. Any plans for water and wind weapons?
Oh yeah. Um, we're gonna figure that out probably as we go, but a lot of it's like, I think the fun part about these elements is like we're not gonna be doing anything like strengths, weaknesses, so we can kind of just have fun with a lot of the elements. I think that makes room for, a water sword or a water spear and like a shields and weapons of all kinds, even cosmetics, since a lot of our character customization is very cosmetic based, like even your clothing. There's a lot of stuff I want to do there, like, earthen armor, cool, wild, like elemental cosmetics and stuff. So, yes, I definitely intend to do a lot of different, whether it's crafting, tools, weapons, armor, or just like different kinds of food and stuff. I think all of those are going to be inspired by the elements in different ways.
Awesome. And then another question we
Yeah,
had, I'll have to double check. I think I know the answer to this, but if I get it wrong, I'll come correct myself in the Discord. Do the
the
augment
rage.
type stack
Yeah,
with the same type? So would Rage 1 and Rage 2 stack, or would Rage 1 and Rage 1 stack? I think yes and yes. I think each one that you equip like has its own like unique stats, and it counts towards your like I don't know how to say it, like elemental affinity
yeah,
dominance weighting. Um, and so those should stack. Yes, I believe. And I don't think there's any and in fact, there shouldn't be any penalty because we kind of want you to stack them, so it kind of helps guide what element you're attuning to, so your little spirit buddy knows what you want to be. Is the bulwark the friend-shaped things? Well, I feel like there are many friend-shaped things in the build, but I think yeah, if you found in the playtest the little, I don't know, frog dog guy,
oh yeah,
that's
they
like
found them.
hiding on a little
Right,
island,
right.
yeah, that is the bulwark. And I think in another playtest, maybe they were little creatures that you could like hunt in the Great Wood.
They're a
They
placeholder.
were.
Yeah,
I don't know if they were meant to be huntable, but yeah, they
no,
were
they're
a
not meant to
prototype.
be killed, but they are this like remnant of like one of our previous versions of the game. So we're gonna figure out where we can hopefully use them. But yeah, people tend to like
Awesome.
them.
Okay, I think we've kind of
I
wrapped
think
up
so.
in questions. So hopefully, hopefully we answered what you wanted. Hopefully you enjoyed the content today. If you end up having any other questions, you can post them in the Ask the Devs channels or Voyager discussion. We're always kind of in there looking to see what we can kind of answer for you guys and hopefully build some hype. But thank you so much for attending our fifth dev stream. We'll post the dev blog probably in a few days after this. Don't forget to sign up for the upcoming playtests. Um, or if you're a lucky person already in the playtest group, I hope we'll see you there. But thanks everyone for your time today, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. And thanks,
Yeah,
Mitch, for all
thank
the
you.
awesome content.
Yeah, thanks for running it.